Psst, did this pop up in your sub box?
Hello? Here is my YouTube process. What you are seeing video product I should advantage on my channel.
No? If not, let me know in the comments.
It's back, Red Bull. There will always be burps, no matter the beverage. Hello YouTube, so I want to talk. No beer today, since alcohol is a depressant and we are talking about mental health. Let's stay 110% sober and enjoy a Red Bull. Have to have it though, it's so habitual to hold and sip something while vlogging, I literally forgot how to do it otherwise. Sometimes on this channel we open up and tell personal stories, and it's been pretty good for me so far. It's cathartic, and articulating my thoughts and feelings out loud is helpful in processing them. Also, perhaps some of you can relate and then feel less alone knowing someone has gone through a similar situation. This is why we do the things we do. I'm always insecure about opening up. I feel like I always have to disclaim it. That was the disclaimer. So I would like to start this chat by emphasizing the importance of vulnerability, and I will link you to a very old TED Talk if you like. Boop. And I want to do this because I feel like my personal mental health issues, which began to become problematic about 7 or 8 months ago, ultimately stem from two major sources. The first is the stigma surrounding mental health in general, how taboo it is in our society and how it's considered oversharing to talk about. And the second and more important thing is my fear of vulnerability. This is why before I jump into my story, I will tell you the moral. And that for me is that it's okay to not be okay, that it's important to communicate that, and while reaching out for help can be terrifying, it's also amazing. Keep these themes in mind whilst you hear my journey. So leaving school is hard. And I think that any post-undergraduate or graduate 20-year-old something desperately clawing for a job and a purpose in life will tell you the same thing. Last August, because it wasn't a good fit for me and because I truly believe it wasn't meant to be part of my life plan, I dropped out of grad school. And if I'm being honest, I felt like a failure. I also felt totally lost and completely helpless in finding employment, and also totally unsure with what to do with all of my newfound free time. And so I dove into YouTube, which is partially awesome because to some extent, channeling negative feelings into productivity and creativity and art is a good thing. A healthy thing. It is also imperative that you talk about your feelings and that you share and process them instead of just distracting yourself and repressing. And I certainly had some feelings for a while that went unshared, unprocessed, and unresolved. So because I felt like a failure and because I felt worthless and because I had YouTube, I spent a lot of time alone in my apartment. I had so much shame for dropping out of grad school that I didn't tell a single friend, and I avoided hanging out with them whenever I could, so I didn't have to answer the question, how are classes going? Because I didn't want to lie. Say they're not. True fact, I never officially told anybody that I left school for about 6 months. I was afraid to open up. I didn't want to share why I left or how it made me feel. I just really didn't want to be vulnerable in that way. The details and events that led me to get to a very dark place in the next few months are complex and messy and a variety of things, but I want to share with you that depression comes in many forms. Rarely, but sometimes for me, it was intense, coming in waves of sadness and emotion. More often for me though, depression was subtle and dull. Just a general feeling of emptiness and lostness and tiredness. As a result, I ended up isolating a lot. I also had little to no motivation and a low self-esteem. Mental health issues don't always have to have huge red flags. For me personally, it took a while before things started to click and I said, hey, I might have a real problem. Just around about that time, Marina Shutup posted this video. I didn't know I had depression, and it resonated with me in a very deep way, so thank you, Marina. When I realized things might be serious, I made an appointment, and I would like to tell you about a moment. A moment where I was forced to be vulnerable. Like I said, I hadn't really talked to my friends or family about how I was feeling, but I had to show some weakness and some honesty, and I had to initiate that conversation with my doctor asking for help. And the way I had to do this was just by marking 3 boxes on a piece of paper, and that sounds easy, but it was terrifying. The paper asked me a ton of normal things like how much do I weigh and do I smoke, but it also asked me a few very scary things. These scary things were: check this box if for 2 or more weeks you have felt hopeless, worthless, or had suicidal thoughts. For all anyone knew, I was just going in for a checkup. But this was the moment where I changed what the appointment was about. If I marked 2 of the 3 boxes that applied to me, I would be forced to have that uncomfortable conversation. It would be inevitable. It would happen. And that terrified me, and I probably stared at those boxes for a solid 15 minutes. But I did mark them, and true fact, guys, it was a brilliant decision. I wasn't met with judgment or disbelief, just help. I was hooked up with some medication and resources that were right for me, and thankfully things have been on the up and up for a while, and I am confident that they will stay that way. So if you are feeling mentally meh, I encourage you to reach out. I know that it's terrifying, but it's so worth it. Fill the comments with some stories, some love, and some positivity, and I will see you later. Okay, bye! Oh, and I'm daily vlogging. I'm daily vlogging on my other channel. You should click it and watch it and sub to it and stuff. Plug, 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 plug. Goodbye for real.
Follow me on Twitter.
I've been asked on behalf of Ashley to have you subscribe and like. Pretty please for me. Like for me, please like for me. Pretty please for me, I'll give you fake money.